Welcome to the Mind Your Own Business podcast and show. I am your host, Elizabeth Upton, and as a former executive, I have seen it all. Our conversations are aimed at inspiring new ways that you can redesign your business and your life so that you can create more time, freedom, and power than you ever thought possible. If you are a highly driven business professional, ranging from I have an idea to an emerging entrepreneur to a CEO who's ready to expand your team, or even if you are an employee who works for one, this show is definitely for you. Join us as we discuss strategies and tips and hacks that will help you to mind your own business, all while not taking ourselves too seriously. There's a little bit of all things business in here, designed to simplify and set your life up for success, from operations, marketing, sales, finance, and mindset to self-care. All of my guests have made an impact in my life, and hopefully they'll do the same for you. If you love to learn and are ready to level up, you're in the right place. Welcome to the show. Hello, everybody. We are so excited that we have the one, the only, the creative, the incredible, the public relations and branding expert, Mr. Will Armstrong. Thank you so much for coming on the show today and Mind Your Own Business.
Elizabeth, hi. This is so much fun. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm so excited that you're here, and I'm really honored that we had the opportunity to work together. You have taught me so much, and I'm excited for you to share this with our viewers. You have incredible ideas, tons of passion, and out-of-the-box thinking. And our listeners would love to know, I'm thinking, how they can think out of the box, how they can learn about public relations, how they can create something for themselves without going the traditional road.
That is, first off, thank you. And I'm so happy to be here. And yeah, no, you hit the nail on the head. Like, what I love most about PR is the opportunity to not follow like traditional cookie cutter like strategies. And just like, we live in a world where we walk around, each and every one of us, with a television studio in your palm of your hand, so the possibilities and the to do things and create things and to share stories has never been easier. And it's just like, and we can do things really, really slickly and really, really professionally in a super easy amount of time. Like, I mean, here, like with this podcast, like this is, for all intents and purposes, like your show that you can tailor and make it exactly what you want and tell your stories and invite your guests to come and just ideate and create and just inspire, and it's just like that. We don't have to wait for a television station or a studio or a producer or like somebody to say, hey, yes, here's your show. Like, it's there for us. And so doing PR in this time is so amazing because it's not just pitching like the big three, like TV, newspapers, and radio. It's bloggers and Instagram influencers and content creators and YouTubers. And it's incredible. Like, the possibilities are endless.
Well, fun fact that this show wouldn't actually exist if it wasn't for you and the Hunter Group and the work that we've done together. And you came up with the title, Mind Your Own Business. So you did this. You're the orchestration behind this happening. So that's a testament to who you are and what you do with people.
Well, you and I feel like we're cut from the same cloth. I feel like we have a lot of the same references. And I feel like growing up as a kid, like the ultimate like comeback is like, mind your own business. And I love that can be, I love taking things and looking at them from another angle. And it's just like, to mind your own business, like to really be cognizant and aware. So I feel like you understood what that phrase meant, and now we can redefine it. And I think that that's really cool. And I think that that's my gift to you. So.
Well, you're amazing. And I know that you've done this for other people. You were mentioning that there are a lot of other people that had ideas, and you are so creative and out of the box, and you're so driven, and you create action around your ideas, which is a whole nother level. You can have an idea and not do anything about it, but you actually do something about it. And you've stepped up in so many ways, and you've created
celebrities, you've created shows, you've enhanced products, and you've done this because your heart's in it. And I'd love to talk a little bit about that, because you don't see that all the time in this industry. And how did you get started, and why do you do the things that you do?
There's so much to unpack there. That's amazing. Thank you. Okay, so first off, you and I are both here in Los Angeles, and you come from the entertainment world too. And so I'm willing to wager that you've been to many, countless meetings with a bunch of people, and they have all these incredible, big, over-the-top ideas, and then you leave, and nothing comes from that meeting. Like all this big talk and nothing happened. And it's just like, I kind of made a decision a long time ago to just, it might not be perfect, but I'm going to try. I'm going to create it, because we are in a town full of people waiting for creators to create so they can get to work. I'm a publicist. If I have nothing to help publicize, I'm just going to be twiddling my thumbs. So I want to help people bring things to fruition so that we can market it, so that we can build off it, so that we can sell it, And so, it all started, I come from the entertainment industry. Like I was a professional dancer for years. I started dancing when I was 2 and working professionally when I was 17. I worked for Disney. I traveled all over the world. I lived in Tokyo. I worked on Disney cruise lines. And then I worked for other cruise line industries, like the Norwegian Cruise Lines with Gina and Ryan Productions, which was amazing. And I got to meet so many incredible people in the entertainment industry that really helped me kind of shape who I am as a person, and creatively, how I can use more than just dance as an outlet, but like there's opportunities to create everywhere. And when I was phasing out of dancing, I got into stage management, and I stage managed the national tour of Wicked, and I brought it to the Pantages Theater here in Los Angeles. And while I was here, I met a publicist named Howard Bragman, who is probably one of the most famous publicists in the world. Okay. So I should also say that in theater, the true sign of a good technician is that you don't even notice him, right? And that's the same thing with publicity. The sign of a good publicist is he's pulling all the strings and making everything happen and creating opportunities, and then stepping back into the shadows and letting it happen. Same with a good stage manager as well. Howard, on the other hand, is able to cross that line, and he's like the go-to person when Charlie Sheen had that big blow up and everything went crazy. He's talking about Tiger Blood. Howard Bragman's called in, and they're asking him, what did this guy do to his career? Or if like Whitney Houston was in trouble, or there was some kind of dilemma with that, they'd call him in. And so he was in front of the camera and behind the camera, and he saw that I, as a showman, as a communicator, and as someone who's just extremely excitable and passionate about things, talking to him, he was just like, "You're a publicist." And I was just like, "What do you mean?" He's just like, "You can do what I do, because it's about getting people. You're a pitch man, You're getting people excited about stuff and having big ideas." And so he said, he has a boutique firm at the time. Well, he's from PMK BNC, he's the B, in Bragman, Nyman, Caffarelli. He sold that, and then he started 15 Minutes. And he hired me as an assistant at 15 Minutes because Wicked was leaving Los Angeles, and I fell in love with the city, and I wanted to stay, and I didn't know what I was going to do. And he was just like, "You're going to come work at 15 Minutes, and and my company has a program where we're going to send you to UCLA at night to study." So I studied with Joann Kileen at UCLA at the Extension School. I was the first person in school, in class, and I walked her to her car every night, and we would stand by her car, and I would speak to her for hours on end about all of the questions I had about writing, crisis control management, like creating brands, reaching out, like how to write the perfect pitch, how to cultivate relationships in the media, everything. And she just was generous enough with her time, because I just had so much I wanted to learn, and I had limited time. And I went from an assistant at 15 Minutes to an account executive, where I was in charge of 9 different major accounts. whether it was the NutriBullet and the Magic Bullet and the Baby Bullet, and the Shake Weight was one of mine. And then personalities like Dr. Lisa Masterson from the TV show The Doctors, Tabitha Coffey from Tabitha Takes Over on Bravo, just like really amazing, really interesting people. And we had so much fun. And so I realized that I was still in the entertainment industry, but I was like, but I wasn't dancing anymore. I was tap dancing on the phone, if you will. And I was like, I also performing and dancing on Broadway, because I was in the Broadway revival of 42nd Street, which was like, after I did that, I was like, okay, I've done it. I achieved my dream of dancing on Broadway. And I still put pants on one leg at a time. Like, my life didn't change that much. So I'm like, maybe I'll get into something that I don't have to like kill myself, like my physical body, like as a professional dancer. Let's do something and use my mind. And it was wonderful that I had like that opportunity was presented to me, and I saw it and I just ran with it. And what I realized was, as a kid, I always wanted to be a performer. And I thought, this is my dream. This is my goal. This is what I should be doing. And I kind of forced that to happen. And PR was something that found me. And at a time in my life when I just let the world just take me and just be like, okay, let's see what happens with this. And what I found is that I love this even more, because it's not just about me and what I'm doing, but it's about what my clients, who I care about so much, and it's about what they're doing and what they're trying to accomplish and the dreams that they're trying to achieve. And I'm there pulling the strings and making opportunities happen for them. And it's just the most amazing blessing to be working with people who care so much about what they're trying to do and get their message out. But when you're in the middle of something like that and you're trying to make it happen, there's so many things to think about. One of the last things you forget to think about is to tell people that you're there and to tell people that you're doing a great job. And so for me to be able to, and which is why I think it's so amazing that Howard Bragman is a publicist, because I brag for you. I tell people how great you are and what a great job you're doing, and the work you're doing needs to be told. And I just think that it's such an honor to be trusted and to be brought into, because your business is your baby, and it's like and every single, especially with small businesses, every single penny needs to be allocated to something that's going to move the needle, that's going to be effective. And PR, unlike marketing and advertising, there's no guarantee. Like, just because you pay your retainer doesn't mean you're going to get a full page ad in the New York Times. That comes from the efficacies of what you're doing and the strategies of how we tell that story and who we tell it to and how we can make that happen. And it's just like the perfect storm of all these things happening to make that full page color Sunday New York Times article happen, and it doesn't always happen. It's a crapshoot. It's a gamble, Well,
it's fascinating what you're talking about, because I've seen you at work, and there's something special in that you give people permission. You give people permission to know that it's okay to, well, first of all, you can brag about them. So that's amazing, because people are humble, or you don't feel like you want to say, yeah, I'm the best person in the world and this is what I do. So having that level of support is so crucial. And then having the permission to know that what you're doing has value and what you're up to is important enough to take it to the front page of the New York Times, or to create something, or write a blog, or social media, connecting, being able to connect this person to that person, and really just giving a lot of love out there, which is something that I feel like we could do so much more of, right?
Well, if you don't have, it's so easy to give up. And it's so many people, entrepreneurs, like, give it a go, and they just realize that it's too hard and there's too much, and they lose that fire. So a part of my job is to be your cheerleader, to keep you going, to check in with you and be like, how are you doing? What are we trying to accomplish? What are the benchmarks for this week? Who are we reaching out to? What are the stories we're telling? And then at the end of the week, it's like, this is who I reached out to. This is who I heard back from. This is what's pending. This is what's happening, and kind of go from there. But I think the reason why PR is so exciting right now is the content creation aspect of it. We don't, like I said before, we don't have to wait for somebody to greenlight an article all the time. At the end of every month, I'm like, I did this many pitches, we secured these many articles. These are the things that could possibly be happening. These are the things that passed. These are the social media posts that we created. These are the videos we created. These are the interviews that we had. This is all the stuff that we shared on our social media platforms, which for all intents and purposes, once we cultivate enough followers and subscribers, like we can become our own media platform. It's like, if you're a big enough name and you have a strong enough voice and a strong enough following, you can be marketing to those people who are choosing to follow you and to stay on top of that. And so it's your responsibility to come up with constant content that is going to resonate with your brand and the people following you. So it's a lot.
And how would you start that in a bite-sized way? Let's say that you're not ready for a publicist, or we can get into the point when you're ready for that, but where would you begin? And it is overwhelming, and there are so many platforms, and there is so much that you can do, and then there's content, and then content begets more content. So where would you have someone that is just starting their business, or let's say they've been in business for a couple years, they're starting to build their team, they're ready to emerge, and yet they don't quite know exactly where to start? What would you advise them to do?
The first thing I think I would do is take a look at what I'm doing and ask myself, what's the story? Like, news-wise, if there's going to be an article or a segment or an interview or whatever, what is news? What is unique to what I'm doing that you can't get anywhere else? Then I would flip on the television, find my favorite local network, possibly the one that has the best ratings, find out who is hosting, and a lot of on-camera hosts also are involved with creating stories and producing content, and you can find all of them on Twitter. Then you reach out to that person on Twitter and you send them a direct message and you say who you are, what you're doing, why you think what you're doing will resonate with the viewers, and what you would like to do, like as far as if you would like to do an interview, invite them to an event, be part of a segment. If, say, you make donuts and it's National Donut Day, can I send a bunch of donuts to the studio so you can have donuts on National Donut Day in your studio? Just like whatever that is, and just there. I mean, I reach out to the media all day, and one of the things about being a publicist is that I have relationships across platforms, but they started because I just started reaching out and introducing myself, and you can do that too, So it's just
right.
and Twitter and Instagram and Facebook are all avenues, and the websites for each outlet. Like if you go to the LA Times, hit contact, and you'll find the different contacts, because news sources are looking for stories. They're looking for you. They want to tell stories, So if you are a local business, start with local news. If you are a global business, how are you contributing to that global conversation?
Yes. And, that's what the great Cheryl Hunter talks about, about how you can really make a difference in the media, sharing your story and being able to know that people will listen, and that your story has value, and that people want content out there, because there's this perception that there's like the closed doors, and if you don't know somebody, you don't know somebody. And there is more content that we can create that they are looking for in the media that they're wanting. And it's a whole nother dynamic than we're kind of taught, or that we think about, when we grow up. It's like the gatekeepers, and then there's more gatekeepers, and there's more and more and more. and if you do the work, because it takes a lot of work, and then you tell the story and you really get there and you want to help others in the world, people will listen.
You're exactly right. And what's so interesting and so crazy is, as far as, like you said, like with there being gatekeepers that want to keep, like, that, I don't necessarily think that that's true. I think that you just have to be brave enough to tell your story and to put it out there, and not be afraid of no, and not be afraid of failure. Because with those, like, I think we live in a world where people want to be nice. Like, even people in the media, like, don't be afraid of them. They're all human, you know. A great idea when you're reaching out to people in the media is to reference something that they've written, or something that they've created, and how it's affected you, how it's touched you. You know what I mean? So it's just like, not just like, because so many people are reaching out and emailing and asking, but like, what can you offer? What can you give? So I always think, so if you have a brand and there's a physical product, I would like to send that to you so that you could have it and see if you enjoy it. And then if it resonates with you, if you think your viewers would like it, you know, let's do a segment, let's do an article, let's do a review, you know, and like, so that's just one way of being of service. But another way is to reach out and say, hey, Elizabeth, I loved your podcast. I thought it was really, really fun and interesting and entertaining. I got a lot of really great tips from it. I shared it on my Facebook and my Instagram and my Twitter, and I just wanted you to know, you know, if you're, and someday, if you're so inclined, I'd love to be a guest. These are the things I think I'd like to talk about, and I think your viewers would appreciate, you know, and just something as simple as that. And then finish it up with, please, please know that I've subscribed to your show, and I will continue to share. Or if you have something that you like, something specific that you want to get out there, be sure to let me know so that I can help promote in my circle. You know what I mean? And let people know that it's not just me emailing you. I come with a newsletter full of people that subscribe to my newsletter. So what I communicate with, because writers and producers, they want ratings, they want analytics, they want eyeballs, you know? So if you can be part of that, you know, if so many people make the mistake of just being like, I booked an interview, and then they do the interview, and then they think it's just like, no, starts. Now let's share that. Let's make sure that everyone that you know has access to that interview, so they can read it, so that those viewership numbers and the uniques on it can go through the roof. So they'd be like, oh my gosh, we need to get Elizabeth back in there, because the last time she was here, our audiences really loved it.
Well, you bring up such an important point about how you can give back out there on social media. You can give back to others. You can acknowledge what they're up to, and you can also be specific about getting support back. And I think that we don't do that enough, or we're a little scared to do it. I mean, a lot of what you have taught me, and I'm sure have taught others, is that there is a level of bravery and courage, and being able to have the permission to do it. And when you go out and you ask people, hey, would you mind giving me a rating or writing me a review, what would you say to people that are a little hesitant to do that?
I think that every email you send out, first off, make sure you read it through so there aren't any typos and it's grammatically correct. And then at the end, add a call to action. Because you could send that email, and then if there's no call to action, they could read it and then forget about it. But even if that call to action is, can you please confirm that you received this email and let me know your thoughts? That could be the call to action. It continues the conversation. You keep on that person's radar. But the other calls to action could be, please like and subscribe. Please give me a Yelp review. Please go over, you know what I mean? And so it's just like, whatever those, but don't be like, just the very last paragraph, have that be it. And also, if whatever the intent of your email is, and this is another lesson I learned from Howard Bragman, is to don't bury the lead. Write in the first sentence why you're writing the email. So if you're like, hey, Elizabeth, I'm writing to you because I was hoping that you would offer a positive review and a 5-star on my iTunes, on iTunes for my podcast, or something like that, and here's why. But like, put it right in the front, because We live in, like, because you are a human in America with an email address. When you open it up every morning, you have hundreds of emails and you have to, like, it's overwhelming. And so people skim and they just go, oh, okay, nothing. So it's just like, put it right there. You don't want to run the risk of them missing it. So put it in the first sentence. And then hopefully you've written it so compelling and it's so newsworthy and it's so interesting that at the very end, that call to action, like, drives it home. And you ask them, always ask people to write you back. Like, keep conversations going. You know what I mean? Because because it's so easy to be like, oh my God, I haven't talked to that person in 6 months. Where did the time go? You know, they're busy, you're busy, everything. And like, then even if they don't write back to you, at least the ask was there. So the next time you connect with them, or if you see them at the grocery store, if you run into them at an event, or if you send them an email, they're like, oh, that's right, I owe you an email. You know, that's right, you asked me to, like, they'll just, and so it just creates that currency. And also, speaking of currency, another thing that I love is when things go wrong. I love it, love it, love it when things go wrong, because reacting to a problem, solving a problem, or being gracious when something, say someone has to reschedule something, or like you get booked to do a TV segment and they're like, we have to cancel and we got to push it back a week. If you go, I know you're busy. I know that there's a lot of breaking news right now. Totally understand. Let me know when you want to reschedule. That is so much more well received than, well, great, I had lost a whole day of business, and you know what I mean? And like, so just being gracious and sometimes that will be remembered more than if you had a great segment. You came in, you hit your mark, you said your things, you left. Everyone will be like, yeah, okay. But if something horrible happens, or something uncomfortable where they think, oh my God, Elizabeth is going to freak, or this is going to be such an inconvenience, and you graciously say, not a problem. I totally understand. When's a good time to do this? Or, you know, what just handling it with grace is always so appreciated in this world, because again, we live in LA and there are a lot of attitudes and a lot of egos and a lot of people who aren't accustomed to graciously accepting things. And it's just like, I think it goes a long way and it gets remembered.
Totally. Yeah, being gracious is such an incredible attribute to have when you're working with anybody in any industry, you know, being able to do that. And also acknowledging others, I think, is really important, and acknowledging how busy we are. And even though we're in the middle of this pandemic, I mean, we're still so busy and we're on our computers all the time, you know, so being able to just say thank you and I appreciate you. I have this thing that I have created on my Instagram account that I call a virtual shout out. And you know, we don't have to say I love you or I appreciate you after someone is, you know, going through a trial or tribulation, or God forbid they have passed away. We sometimes wait to say how much we love someone else. And so I created this virtual shout out because I was missing seeing all my friends and being at home and not getting out of the house. And everyone that I write, I am crying. Like, I am like putting my heart and soul. I know that I'm doing it right when I'm crying. And I put it out there for no reason at all. Just to say, thank you for your heart. Thank you for what you've done. Thank you for the dancing we used to do when we could go out. Thank you for the meals that we've eaten and the time that we've had. And what I get from that is like, it just shines them in the middle of the day. They're like, it just pops up and they're like, oh my God. Why, what? Like, thank you so much. Why did you do this? This is incredible. Like, you made me cry. You made me stop. You made my day. And taking those little moments to make people's day, or if you're, you know, in the media and being gracious and saying, thank you for what you do. Or if you're at a restaurant, or if you're driving through somewhere, just to say, thank you so much for what it is that you are doing. You're doing a good job. It's like, it goes so far. And I feel like it's not that hard. You just open up your heart and you share. And a lot of what you do with public relations and with branding, I see there being a connection there. I really see that.
Well, it's because people ask me what I do for a living, and I say I'm a publicist, and then they instantly think that I'm on a red carpet with a celebrity. And it's like, no, that's also PR, but it's like, it's a different side. Like with me, I jokingly, I say I work with personalities, products, and properties. I work on luxury properties, and lots of times I can do events there or do high-end photo shoots with personalities, you know, so I have like TV doctors and personal trainers and people who've written books and sex experts and just like telling those stories, which is so much more fun because when I call a producer or an editor, I'm not saying, hey, do you want to talk about the show that's coming up on Netflix or this new series? I'm saying, hey, this is 10 tips to make your house more sellable, or 5 ways that you can stay sane while you're trying to homeschool and run your business, you know, and just like those, or what's another one? Like 5 ways to eat smart while you're social distancing and the gyms are closed, and how to like do a at-home workout. Like these are all useful stories right now that are resonating with people. And it's just like, that's so much, I feel so, I appreciate that those are the kind of stories that I'm trying to tell, as opposed to like, I mean, there's been like, when I was an assistant, I'd get assigned accounts. And there was this one, they were like, here is a new supplement that helps new moms lose the baby weight. And I was like, fantastic. And I made a list of mom bloggers, and I asked if I could send them the samples, like a complimentary bottle, so they could try it and review it. And then like a week after I sent them out, they were like, okay, people's kidneys are getting sick, and we need to discontinue this. And so I'm just like, okay, no more. I'm not doing stuff like that anymore. I want to do stuff that I vet myself. I'm not like, I have my own business. I can assign my own stuff. I can say yay or nay instead of, and also the thing is, if you have an opportunity to play poker with me, you should, because I cannot lie. If I have a great hand, I'm like this. And if I have a crappy hand, I'm like this. Like, and you know, I can't be like, I'm gonna bluff. No. And if I believe in you and what you're doing, I will sell the hell out of it. And if I don't, I'm gonna be like, okay, I have this thing and it supposedly does this thing, and it's just like, would you like to write about it? No. Okay, I'm sorry to bother you. Goodbye. You know, and it's just like, but when it's something that I'm just like, oh my gosh, you guys, this is like, the city of Los Angeles is retrofitting homes to make them more environmentally friendly, and like they stay warmer in the winter and cooler in the summer because of the insulation that they use, that they put inside, and they help you find the funding for it, so you don't even have to pay for it, and it raises the value of your home. Like, how amazing is that? You know, like those stories I think are just so, I feel like people want to pay less for electricity, and you know, and people want to improve the value of their home. And so what I did when I had that account, it was called Energy Upgrade Los Angeles, or Energy Upgrade California, I'm sorry. I reached out to a bunch of television stars I knew and said, hey, can we retrofit your home? And then can we do it on Entertainment Tonight or Extra or something? And we just do a tour. Instead of doing like Mansions and Millionaires, we're doing like Ed Begley Jr. is showing us how he shreds jeans and puts them in the insulation of this, like just, and his rain buckets. And it's just like, I think that is so much more exciting and so much more hopeful for our future and the kind of content and stories that I want to tell.
Yeah. Yeah. And by having your own company, you know, and which you started that, how long
7 years ago? Time goes by so fast. It's crazy. But
wow.
And it was because, okay. So I come from the entertainment world, and I probably should have started with this story. I'm so sorry. But when I was so dumb, I had never had an office job, like a 9 to 5. And, but I had seen the movie 9 to 5. So when I started working, every day at 5 o'clock, I'd be like, click off my computer, walk around, say goodbye to everyone, take my bag, and I'd just leave. And 2 weeks into working there, the office manager was like, well, where do you go at 5 o'clock every day? And I was like, oh, CrossFit. There's a 5:15 class that I can make if I hustle. And they're like, you know, the office closes at 6. And I was like, but this is a 9 to 5 job. And they're like, no, where did you get that? And I was like, 9 to 5, the movie, like Dolly Parton, like, no. And they're like, it's 9 to 6, you get an hour for lunch that we don't pay you for. So if you're gonna work 8 hours, you'll work 9 to 6. And I was like, nobody told me that. And everyone's like, no one thought they had to tell you that. And I was like, well, I'm new to this world. I apologize, you know, but it's just like so insane. But I mean, but
they probably thought you were super efficient and you had nothing else to do. So you were able to like duck out a little early.
being an assistant at a public relations firm, there's always something to do. There are always 10 fires going on for 10 different people that you're always trying to, like, there's always some. I had a key to the office, and I would go in on Saturdays and Sundays and work for like 4 or 5 hours just so that Monday wasn't completely from hell. Like, because there's just so much to do, like, all the time. It was just nuts,
I don't remember leaving the office on time ever. When we were in Marina Del Rey, I don't think, and I remember that one of my colleagues would leave on time, and I would think like, wow, how does she do that?
That's
like, how is that possible? I was always locking it up at the end, dealing with, waiting out the traffic. But gosh, we don't have to do that anymore because we're all working from home now.
Which, I mean, so Armstrong Public Relations is a virtual office. Like myself and all of my employees, they all work from home. They always have, which I think is great. We used to try and get together as much as possible so that we could just kind of brainstorm and build off of that energy and that enthusiasm. But there's, like, I also wanted to create something where if you had a yoga class in the middle of the day and you want to attend that, I want you to do that, because I think your quality of life as an employee is too important. I don't want you to be chained to your desk just watching the clock go by. If you're playing Minecraft or Minesweeper or Solitaire, like and not being productive, then fill your soul, become a better person, network, because so much of PR is networking. Get out there, go have cocktails, go ask people what they do to a living, drum up new business. You're not going to get that behind your desk. Get out there, meet people, and just enjoy your life, because we only pass this way once, and too many people are stuck in a cubicle, just like whiling away the hours. And it's just like, no, enjoy your life.
Absolutely. Because your work is your life and your life is your work. And the balance, I feel like people talk about this life work balance. And it used to be more so, I think. I'm now with where we are, it's a little bit different because most of us are home, but it's been this, I think it's a myth, like this whole balance concept. It's like your life is your life. Your work is your life. You are your life. Everything that you do is your life, So if you're happy and you're fulfilled and you're hydrated and you're feeling good, then you're going to produce an incredible day. You're going to show up and you're going to get things done. And if you're upset or if you're not, then handle that, work through that. So then you're able to really show up and be whole and complete while you're actually doing the work that hopefully fulfills you and lights you up, and being able to find that balance or find what brings you joy, whether it's that yoga class that you're suggesting people take, or have a break, or set up a system so that you have a moment for yourself, which I know I didn't, I would just go work. I didn't have my lunch break. I would barely drink enough water. It was like dark outside again. And then it was like, get home, work, rinse, repeat, do it over again, And I feel like we have so much at our fingertips now, and there's so much more that people are learning about themselves, that I'm such a advocate for creating a life and a business that you love.
Yeah, no, there's nothing better. When I was dancing on Broadway, Janet, she was one of the stage managers. She's like, because I was in the show for like 3 years. She's like, Will, every time you walk through that stage door, you're like this. She's like, and I was like, because I'm living my dream. This is what I've wanted to do my whole life, and I'm doing it, and I love it. I love every moment, and I loved every moment of it. And I really feel like with PR and what I do now, it's the exact same thing. Okay, you know how we email each other, like everyone prefers emails or text messages. No one wants to get on the phone. I don't know if you can tell, but I love to talk and I love to connect with people. And when I schedule something and I book an opportunity for a client and they're going to be interviewed, or they got a TV segment, or they got an article or something like that, I don't send them an email. I call them because I'm screaming. I'm so happy for them. I'm like a stage mom. And I was like, you did it. You're going to do that. And it's like, and I'm going to be there every step of the way and help make sure that this is successful, and it's just like, because those little victories mean so much, and they keep you going, and they keep like, and it shows you, like in entertainment, like doing well in an audition, even if you didn't book the gig, it's a thumbs up. having an editor say, oh, let me consider this. This looks cool. Let me pitch this. Even if it doesn't turn into something, which is a bummer, at least you're on the right track, because if it wasn't marketable, they'd be like, pass, this isn't a fit. But they're like, let me throw this up, run this up the flagpole and see what happens. Like that's a great sign. That's a little minor win, and let's secure it and follow up and see what we can do to make this happen. But it's like that, just those little cracks in the possibilities. They keep me going, and I try and make sure that the people my clients that I work with so closely, that they know that I'm as emotionally invested in this as they are, because it can be daunting, and business can be a bummer when you're spending more than you're making, and you have all these employees and you're wondering it's just so to remind us all why we're doing this and what we're trying to accomplish is really, really important.
Right. And it sounds like the people that you work with, you're really passionate about, because you have the choice to work with them, and you're passionate about it, and you keep the spirits high. Do you have any tools or tips that you use to keep the energy up and to be able to keep it going?
Yes. I don't ever, whenever I have a new business meeting, I never go in like I am auditioning or I'm interviewing for the role, as much as it goes both ways. Like, they're interviewing for me too, because I only have so much bandwidth. I only have so much I can put on my plate. So it's got to be something I know I can deliver on, and that I can, and that I believe in. So it's just like, I got to be the right guy for you, but you got to be the right person for me too. So it's just like, don't forget your value and your worth, and just be like, I'll date anyone who'll have me. No, be selective, in your personal and professional life. Because I got married 2.5 years ago, and when I looked out at all of the guests, it was all family and my clients, because my clients are my family. And I don't mean that in a cheesy way. I mean, I truly love these people, and I'm invested in their businesses and their lives, and that's how it should be, It's like,
yeah. Well, when would it be a good time to work with a publicist, where, depending on your business or where you are in your life, like, when is it a time to start on your own and get the ball rolling, and then to, bring in a professional like yourself?
When it becomes, there's so many little things that you can do that are just like one-offs that can keep you going. I mean, I forget her name, the woman who invented Spanx. I think that she is brilliant, and I can't remember her name right now, and I apologize, Spanx lady. But she did a lot of her own PR herself at first, and I think they still do it in-house. But bring on PR when it becomes its own entity. When it's just a little piecemealy thing that you can totally manage, great. But
Sarah Blakely.
Sarah Blakely, yes, thank you. Don't make the mistake of thinking hiring a publicist is hiring a fairy godmother who's going to wave a wand to make you famous. It's like that puts too much pressure on them, and that is unrealistic. And it puts that time and money would be better spent just doing, like I said before, like going on Twitter. And just like, and those exercises are little exercises that you should be doing about your business anyway. Like, what is newsworthy? What am I doing? How does it benefit people? Like, you should already know all those answers. You shouldn't be like, how am I going to figure out all that? Like, if you're in business, these should all be things that you already know, and it should take you a second to write, And so yeah, once it starts coming in, and another thing is, if you have a big launch and you want to bring in, like, if you want to invite a bunch of media and manage that media, you know what I mean? It's just like, you'll know when you need a publicist, but it's like, I've had people that hire me or try to hire me because they want to use the phrase, call my publicist, he'll take care of that. And
just to be able to say it.
Yes. There are people who just think they need a publicist just so they can say stuff. Yes. And it's just like, I'm not that guy. I'm the guy who's gonna wake up in the middle of the night inspired because I have this great idea, Yeah. And it's just like that's the kind of PR I do. How
would you describe PR as it and marketing and advertising? Like what, for somebody that's like,
Oh,
what
nice.
is PR anyways? Like, how would you explain it just so people can get like the nuts and bolts of what it is?
Advertising and marketing, you can take your hard-earned money and hand it to somebody, and you can get it placed with the proper talking points that are approved, like wherever you want for the right amount of money. PR, it's solely on the editorial merit, like of how it works with the news cycle. So they're not going, like, I have a philosophy that everything in press costs something. You can either pay money with advertising and marketing, or you will pay in information or entertainment. So it's like, this is the cutest thing in the world, or the most interesting, fascinating thing, or this is thrilling or scary. Like, all these things can like make people turn a page or make people stay on a channel, and that's what they want you to do. So it's like, that has value. So they're giving you that space because you're paying in information or entertainment, and that information or entertainment is PR. Marketing and advertising is when I just hand you money and you run an ad. The thing about PR is it's 80% more impactful. If you see a third-party endorsement or a review, that is going to make you trust it and believe it and resonate with you more than if you see an ad. You have to see that same ad over and over and over again, that you're being sold a lifestyle and an idea, but you know that that message is coming straight from the source, not from somebody else who is like, the people at Spanx sent me these Spanx and oh my God, Spanx, it's just like that's so different than try Spanx, available $4.99. You know what I mean? It's just like, So PR, it's more about the editorial merit and the efficacies of what you're doing.
Interesting. Yeah. So it would be the difference between reading an article about something that you're excited about and you're like, or maybe it's just intriguing and you're reading this article and you're learning about something. And then by learning about it, then it's leading you to something else and it's leading you to something else, versus, putting on a TV and there's a commercial, or opening up an ad and you're looking at this thing that they're talking about.
Right. I could have said that instead. Yes. Or forget what I said. That was easier. Yes.
Well, I mean, it's great because you think of content in a totally different way within that definition, because then you start thinking of, well, how is everything connected to everything else? And I feel like that's probably where your brain and your genius and your personality and all the people that you've met and who really appreciate you, that's where you're connecting all the dots. Because it's like, oh, this person's talking about that and talking about this, and then that's going to connect with this. And so you're able to bring that in, of course, because you're passionate about it and because you're just an amazing human. So people love to work with you. And so you're able to put all those pieces together and say like, oh, check this out. I'd imagine that's like the magic sauce, right? Well,
that's the thing. And another way to look at PR is very, like, going back to my musical theater roots. The musical Hello, Dolly is based on the book The Matchmaker, which is basically a woman who stands in the middle and, what do you want? What do you need? What do you do? Like, and then she just puts it all together. So I am a matchmaker where you want to tell people about your product, and you want to tell people about your event, and you want to tell people about yourself, and you want to tell a story, and you want to produce a segment, and you're looking for 10 reasons why, and you're looking for gift guide opportunities. And so I put everyone together. And I just make sure that nothing falls through the cracks and everybody gets what they need. Wow. So yeah.
Wow.
It's a lot.
That is a lot.
You
make it look easy.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I owe so much to my training, and not just about how to do it, but why I do it, and it's just like, and it's about passion and love and trust and enthusiasm and being a part of the zeitgeist right now. Like, oh my God. Okay. So I know this has gone on so long and I'm so sorry, but I used to work with Shake Weight, was one of our clients, and we had worked for it for a little while. And they were like, okay, we've done all the shows. We've done everything at the big splash. Everyone knows Shake Weight, yada, yada, yada. And I was like, okay, I'm pitching it and people are saying, no, I'm not interested because it doesn't work. And I was like, there's actual science behind it. But as a dancer, I knew you're not doing it right. You're just grabbing the shake weight and you're just shaking it. And instead of like shoulder down, elbow up, like holding it at a 90 degree, holding in your stomach, like you may think you're doing it right, but you're wrong. I was like, what if we took the shake weight and we put it in a classroom and we had a personal trainer create a curriculum and we have all these people go through a 6-week course and we track it, you know, and we invite press to come check out the shake weight class, you know, with this celebrity trainer who's gonna like, and so they were like, okay, sure, let's do it. So I helped them find a trainer and then found the class, and we found the Hollywood boxing gym over on Santa Monica Boulevard, and we did it for 6 weeks. And I invited some press, and I remember the folks from KTLA, which is a local morning station here in Los Angeles. They were like, I only half read this pitch and I saw a shake weight fitness class. Yes, we're in, we'll be there, you know? And so they came in and they were there. I had to get the entire class there at like 5 a.m. to do like 4 more, you know, morning talk shows. It's like they do the same segment on the 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and then a pre-tape for 1 o'clock. Crazy. Well, we did that. And by the time I got back to my desk that afternoon, we had like millions and millions of hits, and like it had gone completely viral because it was so funny and so incredible, and like the client was pleased, and my bosses were impressed, and it's just like it was incredible, like to like make it go viral. And it's just like, and so many clients are always like, I want to do a viral video, and it's just like that's like saying I want to be hit with lightning, you know? It doesn't. It just, the stars have to align, you know, but all you can do is meet life halfway by giving something great, give the best you got, you know? Yeah. And that's what we did, you know? I mean, it was the shake weight, so it was very tongue in cheek, and it was very inappropriate, and it was very wonderful. And if you Google shake weight KTLA, you can see the video, and you can see me, because it was 4 a.m. and there weren't enough people. So I'm in like t-shirt and shorts doing the class as one of the class makers, because the show is going to go on, you know? But it was just incredible, you know? And it's just like, and it's still one of the things I'm super proud of that I got to be a part of.
Well, you're so versatile, you're so creative, and you go for it. You know, it's like you go for it. And, and I hear you not being afraid of failure and just being like, hey, you know what, something else could come out of this that we didn't plan on, and let's just go for it. And I mean, why not? You know, and it's contagious. It's definitely something that is uplifting. And I know that people would, of course, want to work with you. How would they be able to do that? Like, what does that even look like? Or how can they connect with you at the very least?
Well, I'm on social media, and I have a website, and on social media, it's Will Armstrong PR on Twitter and Instagram. And I'm Armstrong Public Relations on Facebook and armstrongpublicrelations.com. But yeah, reach out to me. Yes. Send me a message. I'm also on TikTok, but it's called Burbank Chickens, and it's all about my chickens. It's not real professional, but I have 5 chickens, and I love them, and I chronicle my adventures with my chickens on TikTok. So check that out too.
Dude, I love your chickens. I love watching the videos. You even have it on Instagram too. And there's one that my mom and we had the best time. You had the chicken and you were holding it, and he starts flapping his wings, and you're like, it's so hard to take a selfie with a chicken. And the things are flapping. My mom and I must have watched that like 10 times in a row. It was so hilarious, and we had such a good time. My mom's like, who is this guy? I'm like, he's amazing.
that video is why I started the TikTok channel, is because of that. So yeah, that was funny. It's crazy. And I mean, we're all stuck at home so much. I was just like, I want chickens. I think they'll be fun. Let's see if I can do it. It's not easy, but it's not that hard. You just need space, and you got to wake up every morning and feed them and love them. And then it's pretty amazing. Like every morning I walk up and there's breakfast, just like 2 little eggs. It's amazing. It's amazing. I love it.
It's so good because you're giving back to them. They're giving back to you. It's a symbiotic relationship.
Exactly. But yeah.
Right on.
Well, wonderful.
Well, I'm so grateful that you took the time, I know in your busy schedule, to connect and talk and really just share your passion and all of the knowledge and wisdom that you have. And we appreciate you so much. And appreciate your time. And if anybody wants to connect with Will, you can connect with him on social media and be able to also go to his website, armstrongpublicrelations.com. And is there anything else, Will, that you want to say to our listeners that will leave them with a little inspiration?
Well, just, no, thank you so much for doing this. I mean, it's podcasts, there are a lot out there. Let's not like kid ourselves. It's like, there's a lot. So it's about creating stuff that resonates with you and telling stories that you want to tell, because it's a little bit of Elizabeth Upton, and you work so hard to help so many people, and this is just, and as a mom, it's like there's only so many hours in the day. So these are these little time capsules that you're creating of these hopefully useful stories that you can tell and share with people. So it's just like, hopefully these will be ripples that will go out and affect people and inspire people, and keep it going and keep it growing. And that's all.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. That's what this is all about, is really inspiring and supporting people that are out in the world to make a big difference. So
exactly.
Thank you for presencing that. And thank you for being here. And this is Elizabeth Upton signing off and reminding you all to mind your own business. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I hope that you got a lot out of what we talked about today. If you are watching from YouTube, then please give the video a big thumbs up if you did. Make sure to hit subscribe down below if you haven't already, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an episode. If you are listening from Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts, because we know that there's a lot, please take a minute to subscribe if you haven't, and give us a review. It helps others to find the show, and it puts wind in our sails, literally. So please do that. We are at MYOB Podcast on Instagram, and I am at Elizabeth Upton Coaching on Instagram. If you are interested in following along there, we offer a lot of bonus material. And there is a link to the show notes down below in the description box, along with the resources we discussed in today's episode. Most of all, thank you for honoring yourself. Thank you for investing your time with us today. No one is going to be more of a champion for your growth than you are. So always remember that. Keep showing up. And this is Elizabeth Upton signing off and reminding you to always mind your own business.